the Gaza ceasefire doesn't appear to be, well, ceasing the fire very much. It feels a little bit like the conflict is back on, even though both sides say that their ceasefire is intact. Just why are things already looking like they're falling apart? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. Okay, so there's a lot of questions going around, but fundamentally the one is, has the Gaza ceasefire been broken? Now, there was a ceasefire that rolled out literally just 10 days ago. The U.S. brokering a truce that, again, here on this channel, we supported it. We were like, good, man. The Gaza war was brutal. It was vicious, targeted civilians, and nobody really wanted to see it continue. But there have already been a bunch of incidents that look increasingly like the ceasefire may not hold. For example, Israel's army shot a van of unarmed Palestinians that reportedly crossed essentially a demilitarized line, and bombed Gaza on several occasions. Hamas fighters also appear to have targeted Israeli soldiers in the Rafah area, and this is really looking more and more like the ceasefire may not hold, right? Now, the Israeli military said on Sunday that Hamas violated the agreement, and two Hamas fighters had killed 2 Israeli soldiers in Rafah. Then Israel carried out, quote, a massive and extensive wave of strikes across the Gaza Strip. You also had Israel, what they called a temporary halt of aid into Gaza. So again, seemingly punishing Gazan civilians for the actions of Hamas fighters in violation of the law of war. Hamas's armed wing said it was unaware of any clashes, saying that Israel controls the Rafah area and that the brigades had no contact with any fighters inside of Rafah. But Israel also says Hamas is dragging its feet on returning the bodies of remaining hostages who were killed. Right? Hamas has said, of course, it needs more time to be able to exhume and find all the bodies. There's also believed to be a large number of Palestinians also trapped who were killed under the rubble. Now, again, both sides are saying, listen, we think the ceasefire is still intact. They're like, we hope this is simply the end of it. It's very difficult, right? And you see, for example, a van with a bunch of a Palestinian family crossed this demilitarized line and was fired upon by Israel. It was later found that the van was unarmed and had a bunch of kids in it. But Hamas also, again, targeting Israeli troops, and then Israel, again, responding with large-scale strikes against targets in Gaza and a cutting off of aid. Hamas, though, has returned the bodies of some Israeli hostages who died in Gaza. All living Israelis have been returned. And I think the takeaway here is that one of the biggest fears that everyone has is that Israel doesn't actually have that much interest, nor does Hamas potentially, in establishing a ceasefire, right? These operations, the fundamental goal of the Israeli military operation, right, which is the complete dismantling of Hamas, has failed. Hamas, again, persists as both a militant and political organization. And Hamas's goals of a independent Palestinian state are, again, not going to be achieved with this ceasefire. So there's fears that both sides have an incentive to keep the fighting going. The only people who don't have an incentive to continue this fighting is, of course, Gazan civilians who are really just trapped in this kill zone. And it's one of the things that really has made this war so horrific is that there's not anywhere the Palestinians can go. The Egyptians, Jordanians, Syrians, no one wants them in their country. And as a result, you simply have a captive population literally trapped in this firefight between Hamas and Israel. And so, again, I'm rooting for the ceasefire. I'm still hoping that it holds. But boy, this doesn't appear to be de-escalating. It looks more like the fighting is ramping up again. The fear I think that Hamas has is that the hostages, the existence of the hostages, were restraining Israeli operations somewhat. And now that Israel has all surviving hostages, the fear is simply say, well, let's finish the job now that we have everyone back that we're ever going to get. And yeah, it's pretty troubling. But again, it would be a huge humiliation for the United States, who is personally guaranteed the safety of Gaza. In fact, Donald Trump has, again, personally signed his name to this deal. So it would be a humiliation for President Trump. And again, I think as someone who's trying to bill himself as the peace president, he really wants to see this get done. Anyway, guys, I'll keep you posted on it. Thanks to AL90, James Porsche, Steve Moran, Doug Beck, Alex William, Henry Roussier, all of our Lieutenant tier members. Become a member over at Combat Vet News. Link is in the description. And follow us on Spotify. Thanks. Cheers.